On June 26, 2000, 16-year-old Molly Bish vanished from her lifeguard post in Warren, Massachusetts, launching the state's largest and most expensive missing person search in its history. The case remains unsolved. Let's talk about it. All right, we're going to start August 2nd, 1983. Molly Ann Bish is born in Warren, Massachusetts. She's the youngest of three children. Her parents, Maggie Bish, who you're going to hear a lot from in this story, was a nurse's aide, and John Bish Sr. was a truck driver. Her childhood and teen years, she described as typical. Fun-loving, responsible, compassionate. She played softball and was a goalie in soccer at Warren High School. She was studying early childhood education, so she had a very nurturing, nature to her, which clearly means she had a big heart, clearly means she was like a loving person. And she used to work summers as a lifeguard at Comins Pond, which is in Warren, Massachusetts. Now, admittedly, us being from Northeast Massachusetts, Al, we're not familiar with the area. It's south of Worcester, southeast of Worcester, I believe.
Yes.
And I'm just not from like Palmer, Ware. It's all kind of
essentially New York to us.
Yeah, it's like
far.
it really might as well be. I'm not even trying to bullshit here. It might just be a different state to us.
Yeah.
So it's different.
It does seem like a nice kind of rural area, I would say, like picturesque. If you look at pictures of Warren.
Yeah, definitely.
Their main downtown looks like straight out of like maybe a Hallmark movie.
Yeah,
or something
it definitely is like a cozy little.
Yes.
It's a cozy little spot.
Exactly.
And then we're moving into June 25th, 2000. This is the day before Molly disappeared. That's where they will put us in the timeline, right? So Maggie Bish notices a suspicious man, white male described in between his 30s and 40s, dark hair, medium build, smoking a cigarette. Okay? Now, this is the day before.
This is the day before. And she makes note that the way he's smoking the cigarette looks rather feminine or odd. She says.
Enough
it's
to
a
notice.
Distinct way, the way he's smoking the cigarette.
Okay.
We'll get into the
sketch that
sketch
comes out
later on.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Right. Now he's sitting in a white sedan in the parking lot near Comins Pond. Presumably, this is where Maggie dropped her off every day. Obviously, it's a pond, so there's usually one communal parking lot where everybody parks.
Yep.
And then every sort of, I don't know if there's a pathway, a little thing down to the sand, whatever. You guys have seen this 1,000 times, right? Now, Maggie said she felt uneasy, but leaves without confrontation.
Yeah, so I listened to an interview with the mother, Maggie, and it seemed like she got a pit in her stomach as soon as she saw this guy, so she stayed there until, like, the beach, the people that came to the beach, they had, like, all kids there. Picture it like the kids would come and swim and all that stuff, and she waited until more people came because obviously the lifeguard had to be there first, set up her shop. So she waited until people came. So she had this pit in her stomach that, this guy, something wasn't right about this guy.
Okay.
So she stayed and waited until, people came, and she talked to Molly.
Sure.
And just made sure she was all set up. So there was something uneasy about it that she felt in her stomach.
And this, again, motherly instinct has to be a thing.
Yes.
The mom instinct has to kick in at some point, where she's probably sitting here, and it's clearly, she probably is also used to seeing the same people there.
Correct.
Like every day.
Yeah.
You think it's a community pond, man. Like, it's not like it's Six Flags or something
and
like that.
And I'm pretty sure Molly's older brother, so Maggie's son, also was a lifeguard. So he's the one that actually trained Molly to be a lifeguard. So she was probably even for years has been used to this pond.
And knows it like the back of her hand,
yes,
presumably, right?
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where we're at as far as like this is the first part of that story. Okay, now we're moving into the second part. Date, June 26th, 2000. This is the day of disappearance. Between 7:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. But at the same time, right, I think, well, hold on. We're looking at this here. It says Molly and Maggie leave their home in Warren between 7:30 and 7:45 in their normal morning conversation, routine plans. This is like a totally normal day are happening, right?
Correct.
Now, between 7:50 and 8 a.m., Maggie drops Molly off at Comins Pond. Molly has her lifeguard bag with the towel, the water bottle, a radio when people used to keep those, and a first aid kit. We're going to circle back to this first aid kit,
Correct.
right?
We're definitely going to circle back to that.
That first aid kit is going to come back into play later in this story. Maggie glances back, but she does not see the man from the day before.
Yeah, he was so creepy, or creeped her out so much, that she actually made a point to look for this guy. So that's why she left, instead of staying and waiting for the people to show up at this camp.
Right.
She decides, like, okay, everything's good. The guy's not there.
Yep.
But she made note of it. She made note of this guy, and she was just like, I got to make sure he's not here, and then I can leave. And she decided to leave.
Because you had to think at some point, like, if she saw this guy again, she was probably planning to confront him and be like, hey, buddy, like, what are you doing here? Like, but at the same time, it's like, how much can you really say to this guy? He's just sitting in his car smoking a cigarette in a public place. You can't exactly be like, hey, you can't do,
I know.
like, it's a tough, even if she went and told the cops, what can they really do?
How many times have you went to, like, Target or anywhere, and you're like, oh, this guy's a creep, and you're looking at him, and you watch him for a little bit, but you never, like, take it to that next level and
No,
confront
I
the
mean,
guy.
that happens every single day.
Every single day you see
Like,
someone
every
out of
day.
spot that he looks out of place, but you're
Or
never
like
gonna-
a van will drive by you that's
Yeah.
all broken down and the thing
Yeah.
with the window smoked out or
Yes.
whatever, and you're
Yeah.
like, dude, it looks like a jalopy.
Yeah.
And you're like, where the fuck is this guy go? It's like the creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of that same like vibe, right? That happens every day. Now it's 8 a.m. This is between 8 and 8:10 a.m. Super small time frame here.
Yes.
Sets up her lifeguard station, puts her radio down, whistle, sandals, tower at her chair. Now we're cutting to 8:10, between 8:10, a.m. and 10 a.m. Visitors begin arriving. Al, what did you say earlier? The lifeguard has to get there before everybody, right?
Has to get up, got to set up, because you obviously have to be in your post. You're essentially a security guard for the beach,
100%.
if you think about it.
Yeah.
You make sure everyone's, doing the right thing. You got to be there before.
Absolutely. Now, the lifeguard chair appears to be unattended, right?
Correct.
Molly's belongings are left behind, her sandals, the bag with the radio, the whistles, the towel, the water bottle. Notice what wasn't there.
Well, the first aid kit is there at some point.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is there.
Yes,
Okay,
it is there, and it's open. This is the point with the thing. So the first aid kit's open. Why would the first aid kit be open?
Was it missing anything? Did they
Wasn't
describe-
missing anything. So it's almost like she opened it for some reason,
Right. Okay.
because you don't just keep it open.
Yeah,
Most likely.
absolutely
I
right.
mean,
I don't-
this is a little bit of conjecture, obviously, but
Sure.
you bring a first aid kit, you use it when you need it. So
Yeah.
first aid kit's open. If you want to get into some theories, did someone ask her, hey, I need help? Because she's right by the woods.
Yeah, I see. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I stepped on a fucking stick.
Yeah.
I don't know, a thorn.
How do you
cut
get
me
how do you
walking
get a
through the-
lifeguard off of her
Post.
And we already said she's a nurturing person. It seems like she wanted to help
Ve-
people.
yeah.
Now that first aid kit is open. So did she go? Did someone from the woods poke the head out? Hey, we
Hey, I
gotta
was
cut over
hiking
here.
through
Oh,
or
my
something.
kid.
Yeah,
in
something.
Any way,
It could have been any like little bait
And
statement
she
or whatever.
rushes down and goes into the woods. I mean, it's
Yeah,
plausible.
that's crazy. Because you might be thinking like, oh, well, it's not open yet. I still have an hour and, almost 2 hours here before this
Correct.
place even opens.
Yeah.
So who knows what she does sitting there by herself, whatever, for however amount of time. Now, there's no visible signs, to Al's point, of any struggle, blood, or disturbance.
Right.
Now, I don't know how populous of a place Comins Pond is, right? Somebody in the comments can tell us about this if they want. Like, I don't know if there's houses on this pond. That happens sometimes where you get people that have a house a little setback from the water line,
Right.
beach, whatever it is.
If you
That
ever
was
been,
like-
if you ever been to, it's a way like describing it and what I've read, and it seems to me in some of the pictures is it looks like there's like a sand. It's like a pond, but it's really like a pond up in New Hampshire where they have like a sand beach.
Yeah.
That's what I reminded of. Up against the woods, though.
We had that in Georgetown.
Yes. Oh,
so
you did?
Rock Pond in Georgetown.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So we kind of had, there was like one area that was like sandy. It was right by American Legion Park. And that's where people, if you wanted to like canoe out there,
Right.
you would like
Okay.
shove your canoe thing out there. But some people that lived on the pond, the whole pond had people living on it.
Yeah.
Like on every angle. So some people had a dock. If you had a boat, you could
Right.
go out there and shit.
I don't think there was many houses there. There wasn't many
Okay,
houses.
so it's not like a populate,
No.
like a, it's not like a, trying to think, just like any, oh no, that's a lake in Wakefield.
Oh
Never
yeah,
mind.
no,
sorry.
that's pretty.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's different.
So it's right up against a tree line.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So you could. It seems like maybe disappear through the woods would
Sure.
be an easy way for that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're cutting to 10 o'clock a.m. Okay, this is between 10 and 10:30. That's the time frame we have here. The pond manager didn't know that existed, becomes alarmed and calls authorities. Presumably somebody from the group
whoever's-
of people that showed up or whatever was like, hey, there's no lifeguard here, like what's going on?
Well, I think the parents who had their kids there were like, "There's no lifeguard on duty," and actually some of the parents like got up on the thing and was like trying to be lifeguard for the day.
Oh, yeah,
While she
yeah.
was missing, they're like, "Okay, I'll just get up on the post."
They
and-
probably figured she was late.
Yeah,
Or
or
whatever.
some- oh,
That's
yes,
sick.
yes,
You know,
exactly.
don't forget, this is 2000. Cell phones weren't really a thing
Correct.
at this point.
Correct.
So he shows up, then the police show up, local PD. And an immediate search begins around the pond and surrounding woods. Producer Pat, do you have anything to add in right now after these first two segments?
Right away, right? The police didn't take it as a missing person. Like the full day went by.
Well, I think I'm pretty sure that Maggie does mention it to the cops like almost immediately because they're trying to say that she runs away with her friends. That's what the police always say. Oh, she just
Ran away. That's like their first
And you know,
go-to
and most of the
MO.
time, you can't really blame the cops. That's probably is what happens on most cases that the kids they're running with their friends.
Even when you
16-year-old
see somebody
girl.
go missing in Massachusetts and it goes around social media for a little
Yeah.
bit, like that's almost always what it is.
Always. There was
You
a
know,
kid in Revere that just
happened.
and it just
Yeah,
happened
it was
to,
it was
so-
whatever. Right, exactly.
So you can't blame the cops, but at the same time, you know, as me as a cop, I would want to be like as safe as possible. Like
I would go. I mean, you would think police would go from the worst case scenario down,
I
right?
think also looking at the scene, it does look like there was no struggle, there's no blood, right? So they're thinking in their heads, Molly left on her own will, which it does seem like that.
Yeah,
if
but
you look at the case,
and then,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then if you're the cops showing up at the scene, you're like, this girl is clearly some like borderline like Girl Scout.
Yes.
She's very responsible. Clearly has like her shit together for a 16-year-old teenager or whatever, right? And it's like, what do you think? She just like said, "Screw this, I'm out of here," and I'm just running away with a crew of people for the day. Like
I
that
know.
doesn't even make any. That makes to me at least, if I'm the arriving officer, that doesn't make any sense to me
Yeah.
at all.
They just took it as like some girl like just skipping out on work. That's how they took it. But the mother knew right away. The mother knew, and the father came down, and they all knew like that, you know,
Yeah.
that this wasn't the case. They could feel it in their bones. Like I know Molly would never leave.
Right.
She'd never leave her spot. She cared about the job,
Yeah.
and she was just a responsible person. So they knew right away that something was wrong.
And now you're moving into this third part of this story, okay? The immediate search and investigation. This begins on, obviously, the day of, June 26, 2000, and this goes through the summer, okay? So June 26, 2000, this is the day of. This is the immediate course of action as the search goes out. Now, this goes from the afternoon into the evening. We have the K-9 units deployed. Police divers are immediately searching this pond. Helicopters grid search all of the wooded areas around it. Maggie Bish returns to the pond herself, and she's just calling for Molly through the whole forest.
Yeah, that's a sad scene. If you
Yeah,
think about
it is.
that,
Because you
like,
got to
as a
think,
mother.
this is all happening for her probably like almost in slow motion.
Yeah.
Where it's just this day probably felt like it was like 100 hours long.
Yeah. And she probably is blaming herself a little bit. She probably feels like she could have stayed, and you know, if she stayed a little bit longer, that's probably what in her head what she's thinking. And you shouldn't really blame yourself for that.
No,
'cause-
but I mean, and knock on wood, this is obviously like not something you ever want to be able to empathize with.
Yeah.
Like I hope I never know,
Yeah.
any of us ever know what this feels like, because I can't imagine what that sense of panic and it goes on, right? But now, as this is happening, the Warren police classify the case as suspicious in the same evening. So they label this pretty quickly. So I think if they're doing that, that means they got past the whole she ran away thing
Yes.
pretty instantaneously. If that,
yeah, I think the mother had a huge hand in that, and I think she mentions the guy in the sedan, and they're acting on the safe side at this point.
Yeah.
Like, let's,
Okay.
you know,
so now we're moving into July of 2000. The feds get involved. The FBI officially joins the investigation. Regional media coverage is now expanding. So now this is like a story kind of like across New England now. Not just a localized, you saw it on Channel 5 News, right? And another thing that happens every single time. I don't know how deranged of a loser you have to be to do this, but like fake, false leads start to emerge. I don't know how little of a life you need to have or how much of a scumbag you need to be.
Yeah, you're a huge scumbag.
To do this.
Yeah.
Or think it's funny, or think it's like entertaining.
Especially if you're doing it with purposeful intent. Like, okay, you might say something that, oh, I thought I saw this. You know, maybe you saw something.
yeah.
Maybe you misremember something. But if you're outright just giving, like, you know,
Just like bad
false
tips,
leads.
like bad tips.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing with your life, man? Like, I don't understand how anybody does that in good conscience.
Do you ever
like,
think that maybe some people that are involved would put false leads into a case, like call up a tip line?
I wonder how often that happens.
I think it happens more than you think.
Really?
Yeah.
I admittedly don't know. It'd be an interesting thing to look, but there's no way to like trace
There's
it
no
back
way to
unless
trace
they
it.
like admit to it. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Like,
of course not.
pull phone records on it. You know what I mean? So, because at this point, they're reporting sightings of her in Connecticut gas stations. That's
Right.
plural. So that means it's happened a couple of times.
Yep.
And then reports in Worcester, which is totally plausible.
It's close, yeah.
It's right outside. It's like the Saugus version of Boston.
Yeah,
If that
and-
makes any sense. It's like a suburb right outside Worcester.
If you look at Molly Bish's picture too, she does kind of look like an average 16-year-old white female with blonde hair. She looks like a very normal.
Oh, she looks like, for anybody who like grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, you've seen 5 million girls in your life that look like this
Yes,
girl. She looks like
exactly.
every girl from back then with the flannel thing on.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they will obviously temporarily close Comins Pond due to the outgoing fear in the community. Right now, we are on segment 4 here. This is the 4th part of the story. The search and public response begins now. This is July 2000 into June of 2003. Okay? We have ongoing community involvement. Volunteers join the search daily. It's just the search party and volunteer work is growing by the day.
Right.
Warren is holding the candlelit vigils are happening. You know, the whole bring Molly home. I feel like that's just like whenever a person goes missing, it's like bring insert name home, right? And
Especially in the 2000s, you know, I was a kid. I was probably like 12, 13 when this happened. I remember it. I remember like the posters. I remember like billboards. I remember this case.
Right.
You know, I don't remember the details. Obviously, you get into some of the details, but you remember they did do a pretty good canvas job in terms of like, you know, we heard about her. Like,
getting her face out there.
Yes, getting her
and-
face
yeah,
out there
right.
and everything. You see the picture, you recognize the picture. So they were trying, you know, for years, and I think it's a big piece to the family. The family would not let the cops just be like,
they can
Yeah.
they and still do campaign, which obviously will come later
Yeah.
in the story, but they absolutely championing, if that's a word, for her to be found and exhausting any effort they possibly could, right? And the other thing is to point out here, you got to think, this is 2000, right? Social media does not exist at this point.
Correct.
You had to see shit on TV, right? I mean, it was if it was on the news, like that's where you saw everything. You didn't, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, somebody tweeted about this, somebody put it on their Instagram story, or it's a viral Facebook post.
Information was slower.
Way
Back
slower.
So that was the only way you could see it.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it was like, and again, usually if you had a big enough story, I mean, the news would essentially just be covering that the whole time.
Yeah.
And just insert other things as they happen. And then
Yeah.
go right back to the constant dialogue about this person,
Yeah.
this missing individual, right? So now, like I said, the vigils are happening. There's posters out everywhere because, again, you couldn't put social media pictures up. Posters were what you had to do,
Yep.
right? Now, Maggie Bish kind of takes the lead as far as, like, the family goes. She's kind of the spokesperson for the family. She continues to put Molly's face out there. This is over the course of 3 years, by the way. Like I said before, you know, she's even quoted as saying, I have to keep her face out there.
Yeah. Keep it fresh in everyone's mind. That's
do,
that's
yeah, you
really all
can't-
you can do as a family member.
No,
at
you
that
can't
point.
let it fade into obscurity or
Yeah.
let people forget. You have to keep you have to keep going and trying everything, right? Now, there's no major breaks for 3 years. There's over 15,000 tips processed by Massachusetts State Police. Now, this is I would love to know, can somebody pull this statistic up if possible? What percentage of tips actually end up leading to a break in a case? Because it's like, how much bullshit do you need to cipher through?
Oh, infinite.
And at what point does it become like a hindrance almost? I hate to say it, but like 15,000, like clear, like did
I
any...
got here 2 to 5% of tips in
Holy
high-profile
cow.
cases
2 to
end up
5.
being substantial.
Really? It's like...
So it's like 30 tips out of 1,500 is like even viable.
Wow, yeah.
15,000, I mean.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like I said,
Well,
at what
imagine
point...
how hard that is to actually start believing, you know what I mean? Like, you just
Right.
become numb to it when you get
Exactly. So
someone reaching out to you.
You can kind of see, like, I know it's tough. You want to place blame on somebody. You want to
Right.
place blame on the cops. Maybe they didn't do enough. In any case, this is not just this case, but that's a lot of information at once
And
to try to
clearly
decipher
a lot
through.
of bad information. Like,
Yes.
98 to 95% of it essentially is bullshit.
Yeah.
And one thing for me, too, like, it doesn't even really matter what the case is. I feel like you can't, it's like live with it, live without it, is people just want an answer. So
Yeah.
I think that forces, the police or the FBI, whoever's doing the investigation in a lot of cases, to let's just get someone
Yeah.
for
Right.
public perception to, kind of cool down. I feel like
I
that's
think
where
there's
the interesting
absolutely,
piece
yeah.
is.
Like Pat was, and I think Pat was like, to go to Pat's point here, there's got to be like, I hate to say this, not to sound cynical, but like a PR standpoint from police departments, right?
100%.
Like there has to be.
Yeah.
There has to be some way that they're like, all right, you have to manage the rest of your community.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It is up to their, and again, the other part of it is it's up to the police to make people feel safe.
Yeah. And so that's why media pressure, that's why a lot of the families try to go right to the media, because they feel like if you apply pressure to the police, maybe it'll light a fire under their ass.
Yeah.
And you'll see it in many of the cases that we're probably going to touch on.
When in
that,
reality, it's like no police department wants a laundry list of missing people under their jurisdiction, like the length of a CVS receipt, where it's like, hey, you guys just couldn't find, like,
Yeah.
it makes them look bad. So
It does.
I do empathize with the police to a certain degree on that, 100%. Now, a composite sketch. This is where it gets interesting. A composite sketch of the man in the white car circulated, but identity was never confirmed, right?
Correct.
So they have a sketch of this guy. We'll have that brought up on screen for you.
Yep.
That'll be presented, right? Now, we're cutting to the fifth part of this story, part 5. The discovery of Molly's remains. This was June 9th, 2003. Timothy McGuigan. I don't know how to. Sorry if I just butchered that.
I know. We're gonna mess up some names.
Yeah, sorry.
It's-
Timothy McGuigan.
McGagan?
Yeah. A hunter searches for a fishing spot in the Whiskey Hill Woods, which are near Palmer, Massachusetts, which is about 5 miles from Comins Pond. If
So
you're
pretty-
looking at it
so
on a
pretty
map.
close.
Pretty close.
10-minute drive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so within distance, reasonable distance for sure. He discovers a piece of blue cloth partially buried under leaves. He initially believes it's trash until noticing it resembles swimsuit fabric.
Correct. And the mother does disappear. She did wear a blue bathing suit to the pond that day. The mother could pick it out. She actually went and bought the bathing suit with Molly.
Yeah.
And that was part of the thing, that she was wearing a blue bathing suit.
Okay.
So I mean, that
Like
was-
last seen
in a
wearing
blue
a blue bathing suit.
with a specific fabric. It was, I believe
Gotcha.
it was blue and white, but
Okay.
she knows straight up like that it was a blue and white bathing suit.
And this
Sure.
wasn't in the middle of nowhere either. Heavily trafficked, hunting ground.
Right.
So they said people
Oh,
probably
so
have
this is
walked
like a
by.
place where like a common hunting area.
Yes,
Yes.
people probably, unfortunately, walked by that area quite a bit.
I take it almost like a break hot reservation.
Yeah.
The way that I've looked into it, like from Saugus, if anyone's like in that area, that it's heavily traveled.
The only thing I would say is, do you think it has to be bigger, considering it's like legal to hunt there? Because you got to.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely bigger.
Or
Yeah,
is
and
it
plus-
legal to? I'm sorry. Was he hunting or was he just fishing?
Both. You could do both there.
Oh, you can both. You can hunt
that
and
site,
fish.
yes. It was, but a lot of people went there for hunting.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know if there was a distinction between the two.
It's an extremely popular hunting area, and they're saying thousands of people go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're
So
looking
a
at
lot
a
of
very
people
common,
go there.
Got you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is happening between June 10th and June 14th, 2003. So the next day. Massachusetts State Police secure the area. Cadaver dogs are deployed. Human skeletal remains are found scattered in this wooded area. Likely scattered, though, by wildlife activity.
Right.
So you don't know if a raccoon came along and or whatever was, things walk over it, kick it to the side, whatever, right?
Yeah.
The items found at the scene are a blue swimsuit consistent with Molly's lifeguard uniform, but no weapon recovered. That's over the course of those 4 days.
Right. So it's in a shallow grave. She was buried in a shallow grave. Clearly, animals, unfortunately, got to those remains and scattered them around. The blue bathing suit was found far from the site. Not far from the site, but in a little bit of a different area, a little bit further away from the skeletal remains. They don't know if that's wildlife or if, the bathing suit was taken off beforehand or what.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's where they found the remains, in that wooded area where all those hunters went.
Interesting. Now we're moving to June 14th, 2003 here, okay? State police confirmed the remains belonged to Molly Bish via dental records. So that was the big thing back in the day, right? Before DNA really became like a prevalent thing, it would be the dental records, right?
Correct. They do have this was DNA-ish because I always find one of the first cases of DNA would be the O.J. Simpson trial.
Right.
That's 95. So
Yeah.
this is kind of like in the height of when they started to use DNA. But I
meant for like an immediate
yes, always
identification,
dental.
like
Yeah,
the dental
it
thing.
seems like dental is the way to go.
Dental would be the first thing that they used to go to, right?
Yep.
Now we have a quote from John Bish, Molly's dad, where this is tough. Like, we got Molly back, but we didn't get the answer. So,
Right.
Yeah, there's some closure there. At least you have some closure, some ending to the story, but not really. Now we're moving into part 6 of this story, right? This is where we're starting to get suspects, we're starting to get theories and leads. Okay, we're going from the year 2000. This is everything up to this point in the case, right?
Right.
Did you have something you wanted to throw in really quick there?
No.
Okay. Rodney Stanganger. This is the first suspect, right? This guy's a former Southbridge, Massachusetts resident. He physically resembled the composite sketch, dark hair, mustache, smoker, and owned a white sedan. Moved to Florida in 2001. Convicted in 2008 in Florida for murdering his girlfriend, Crystal Morrison. Former neighbor claims that he hunted in the Whiskey Hill woods.
Yeah, so he was a hunter in the spot where it was. He disappears to Florida almost immediately after Molly disappears.
Right.
Essentially, they're saying 6 months.
Yeah.
A few months after, probably had to, set up shop in Florida.
Sure.
And then he gets convicted in 6-7 years later of killing his girlfriend. So he has that murderous capability.
And they did question this guy before he was able to leave, right? So they did get his DNA sample, but they did not file any charges.
Right.
Next guy, Gerald Battistoni. This guy's a convicted sex offender, worked as a roofer/construction worker in central Massachusetts. Resembled composite sketch of the man in the white car. He attempted offing himself after being named publicly.
Correct.
I think that's while he was in jail. I think he was in the can at this point.
Was he in the can
Actually,
at
I don't
that
know. Maybe
point?
he was, maybe he wasn't. I don't know.
I'm not sure. But
I
he
thought
was in prison for several rapes of
this
children.
This guy was a piece of garbage.
Teenage girls in the 1990s. So he was.
Right.
I don't know how someone gets out from raping teenage girls.
Yeah, I don't know how
in the
that.
1990s. They identified him as a suspect around 2011.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
But the DNA testing was inconclusive.
Correct.
Ultimately.
Of course, this is the problem is that, it doesn't seem like the DNA either was up to snuff or maybe time went by or maybe they didn't do they didn't preserve the scene well. It might be tough with all everything
Yeah,
that's going
like
on.
I said, when you're extracting anything, especially DNA, like I said, it's still the early days of DNA at that point. It really only been a thing for like 5 years.
Right.
So,
Well, and also you have to think about, because they didn't treat this as a kidnapping right away, the entire day went by, everyone on that beach, that crime scene got destroyed the entire
And you have
day.
several parents
Right.
that were up on the ledge of the, they actually got up on that lifeguard thing, so they don't know, you know what I mean? So like people were acting like lifeguards while she wasn't
Yeah.
there. So they were in that vicinity.
Sure.
So, and both these cases, both Gerald Battistoni and the Rodney Stanganger,
yeah.
they are both linked to Holly Pertinen.
Pirinen, I think,
Pirinen,
right? Sorry,
Pirinen,
didn't
yes,
mean to
Pirinen.
correct
No,
you.
no,
yeah.
no, please correct me because names are tough.
Yeah.
Holly Perrinen, similar age to Molly, disappeared in a similar area. I think that those cases
Only,
could
I
be
want to
linked.
say it was only like it wasn't far away either.
Yeah, no, it's out in Western Mass. Very
Yeah,
similar.
central,
I think they're
yeah.
like 15, 20 miles away from each
Right.
other where they both disappeared. So there's parallels between them. Criminal profilers say that like they liked Battistoni a lot for it because they think that maybe he might have took trophies from both, like articles of clothing, because they didn't find everything from
Mm-hmm.
Molly. You know, they did find the bathing suit, but there is some stuff that that both people were missing from the scene. Now that could have just been, you know,
Coincidence.
coincidence,
yeah, whatever,
or
right.
you know, sometimes it's not a coincidence. You know,
No, definitely not. That's an MO for a lot of people that serially do commit crimes, murders, whatever it is, right?
yeah. So and he had local familiarity, meaning like he knew Whiskey Hill. He this is Battistoni. He knew Whiskey Hill. He also was there a lot. He lived around the area, and he purchased drugs at Whiskey Hill. The cops knew him, so they knew that he purchased drugs there. This is from I think a friend or a sister of his said that he purchased drugs there. Mm-hmm. So where the body was found. So it's like he knew the area. He has motive. Well, maybe he doesn't have motive, but he has, you know, the capability. We know that he's
I
capable
mean,
of
this
it.
guy's clearly
Culpability, I guess they call it.
yeah, this guy's clearly capable of despicable shit.
Yeah.
So, one positive, he did cash out in 2014, so he is dead. I guess
know.
that's a good thing.
I know. And-
Looking at a positive there, I guess.
Yep, and if you do look at the sketch, again, we have to go to the sketch. You know, you look at the sketch, you look at the side by side. It's very close. You know.
Oh,
Very-
so I didn't get to look
he's
at
got
it.
some creepy ass eyes, and it's very close. If you just look at his eyes, you look like it's very similar to two sketches.
Oh, okay, because I didn't get to look at an actual picture of him.
Oh, you haven't looked at that.
No, I didn't.
Maybe
look
we'll
up.
throw that picture up
Oh
now.
yeah,
on
maybe
Rodney
that'll be
Stanganger.
up on
That'd
the
be a great-
I'm sure that'll be motioned through
Yes.
in reference on the yeah,
Yes.
absolutely right.
But yeah, creepy eyes, and it seems like he did fit at the time. But DNA was inconclusive.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
So
And that's got to be frustrating too, from a standpoint of like you really feel like you're 95% of the way there.
yes,
You're like, oh yes, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark, and then the one thing you're like, dude, god damn it, you know.
there's also one more person I kind of wanna bring up. And
Yes,
his
please
name-
do.
And it's more of a recent development. His name's Frank Sumner. He was a mechanic, so they're saying that he was fixing white sedans at the time. Seems like a serial scumbag, registered sex offender.
Mm-hmm.
Owned auto repair shops in Spencer, Leicester, and Worcester. Right, so all in that area.
In the area,
So he obviously had
a
access
yeah,
to it, and he had a prevalence of, you know,
deviant behavior.
deviant
obviously.
behavior.
Yeah,
That's
right,
a great,
okay, yeah.
great way to put it. So in June 2021, Worcester County officially named him a person of interest. They did name him a person of interest.
I remember when I did like my IG reel on this.
Yes.
I remember I made a point about him too. Yeah, so I that is good that you brought that
He
up.
also resembled the sketch. Now, there's conflicting reports of whether he actually drove a white sedan. Some people do say he drove a white sedan. Some people say that he was just fixing cars and he had access to a white sedan.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say he did, but there are reports that says that he does. He lived within a driving distance of both sites, Comins
Okay.
Pond and Whiskey Hill. He did give DNA voluntarily.
Oh. All right. I mean,
It didn't match. Another not match.
yeah.
But he's like the number one suspect that they keep saying. They refuse to cancel him out. But he's still he's one of those things.
that's-
It's like every dead end you get to a person, and you're like, it could be this guy. He has the prevalence for it. He's in the area, lived in the area, had access to the white car. They just can't put it in. Now he looks the most like the sketch.
Oh, so this is the guy. This guy looks the most.
This is the one that you
the
had
where
that side by
Is
side.
this the, okay, so this is the one I actually have.
He looks like a fatter gentleman.
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
you could say.
Okay, a portly fellow.
A portly
to
fellow.
quote Ben Stiller in Orange County, by the way.
Yes,
Great
he's
movie.
the and
Go watch
he
it.
does have the features of almost.
Is this the guy
identical.
holding the cig?
And yes, and all three of these guys all hold the cigarette almost the same way. Maggie called it a feminine way of holding it, like almost like how you'd.
I hate to say this, and I'm not even trying to like insert our family into this case. I swear on my life, our grandmother Claire held a cigarette the exact same way this guy is holding it in the pic, not the sketch. In the actual, I'm talking right here.
Yes, I agree 1,000%.
The actual, did Nana not hold the fucking cigarette the same way?
So my point would be is like, yes, if I was making fun of someone smoking a cigarette, I would probably go like this. Like
exactly.
a French guy, right?
Yeah,
like a French. Yes.
Bonjour. Yeah, exactly.
So that is a specific way to hold it. Usually guys don't hold it that way. Now I know we're like, in general, they wouldn't hold it like that.
Yeah,
That,
I mean,
to
if you're
me-
a convict, it's like the
Yes.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
that's
So
typically the
it is
pinch is what I
and
call it.
I think that was for her to call that out. That's crazy for her to like. She noticed that. She noticed this dude in the car holding it weird. Like she noticed it. So she obviously Maggie had eyes on it, and
Right.
she called it out right away. It's crazy that those three people that we mentioned, Battistoni,
This guy does.
Sumner,
Yeah.
they all look the sketch and they all smoke the cigarette the same
The only
way.
thing is this guy doesn't have the mustache, but again, you can shave the mustache.
Yes.
The guy's hair looks exactly the same. The hairline's exactly the same.
And
the face is like fat and round. Like it's.
And they all three of them, they have family members, friends that said they've all had mustaches. So every single one of these guys.
Also, every single one of these guys had.
We might not have a
mustache.
picture of Sumner
Okay.
with the mustache, but he's had a mustache, and he had a mustache during that time period.
Got you. Okay. Now, there's other possibilities here that are brought forward, right? The serial predator theory, similarities to the Holly Pirinen case from 1993. This was 7 years prior. Holly vanished in Sturbridge, Mass. Okay, but she was found in Brimfield. I'm assuming that these are all kind of in the same area if they're going with some type of serial predator theory here, right?
They're all in Western Mass, and they're all within, a few miles of each other.
The only issue is that there's no physical evidence definitively linking any suspect to Molly Bish's murder. The official cause of death actually remains unreleased publicly as of 2025.
So the way that I read that fact too. It's like they know how she was dead. They just don't want to release it.
I don't know why would you, I don't know.
I think it
What
would
does
be
that do
because
for-
because I think maybe to stop the false leads, because at some point they want a confession and they want the person that comes forward to
Okay.
be like, this is how she was killed.
Okay.
That's the only logical explanation, Pat.
Right.
What do you think? You
Yeah,
think
Pat,
that's,
where are you on this?
I just think a part of it was the decomposition.
you think
being-
decomposition
yeah,
too?
being-
You think they might not even fully know what happened?
I don't think they know.
Yeah.
I just
Okay.
think she, unfortunately, was there for too long, which
Right,
is
3 years.
devastating because that is obviously a huge factor that could lead
I
to
know.
a break by if somebody has a
You don't know, somebody
serial
attacked
killer
her and
has-
left her there. She was still alive. You have no
Yeah,
idea.
with
Was
the-
she was she dead
or,
when
or
she
even
was
if
left
they
there?
have an MO, like if they have a certain way that they do it. You
Oh,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
you
Like
don't know.
there's,
Yeah,
there's different
exactly.
elements that can come from that where if they do know.
Yeah.
I know. As
could-
decomposition happens, if there's no bone evidence, essentially, like if they couldn't see like trauma to the bones, they might not know. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
if somebody leaves a full skeleton there and the neck's broken, excuse me, or something like
Yes.
that, like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is what happened. Or, somebody's
that's a
back is
great point.
broken, or
Yeah.
a collarbone, the skull has damage on it.
Yeah.
Now we're moving into the 7th segment. The Bish family, this is their advocacy and sort of the legacy that's been left behind after this case. Maggie has become, since her mom, a prominent child safety advocate. She works with Massachusetts lawmakers, This also enhanced the Amber Alert system.
Yeah.
This case did push it forward and make it more of like a dude, like this needs to be like a thing everywhere. They established the Molly Bish Foundation, which distributes child ID kits. What actually is that?
I could explain that to you. It's basically she's done. I think thousands of them. She giving them out, and basically what it is like, say you have a kid,
Yeah,
and
sure.
you put. Basically, it's a kit that it tells you these steps. Like, you need to have this in here because, so you need to have a picture, a current photograph,
Okay.
a piece of clothing, some DNA, maybe a piece of the hair. So you have it all ready to go. You could just hand it to the cops if your kid ever disappeared.
Wow.
So it would be right there. You don't have to go and collect everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's-
so like
yeah.
parents, obviously you never think that it's gonna happen. So like if say my kid disappeared,
Because
right?
I never had. I don't think I ever.
They
had
would
one
probably
made.
give you a list. We need X, Y, and Z. But
Yeah.
this puts it into perspective. Like, okay, you have his DNA on file, all this stuff, everything that you need. That if God forbid something happened,
So it's almost like putting a fingerprint in a database.
correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fingerprints
so, yeah.
would be on it. It'd be all. It's
Oh, the
all
fingerprint
stuff.
would be on
yes,
it. Yeah, the dental record would just presumably be in there.
Yeah,
and
I
shit,
would assume
right?
there might be
Maybe
a
there's
dental
like a piece
impression.
of paper
Yeah.
or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
I don't know the exact checklist that they have in their child ID kits, but that's the basic.
Why aren't
premise of
these
it.
given up? Like I never had one, and like I was 8 years old when this happened. You would think.
I know. So people basically you keep it on file for God forbid something. were to
Yeah,
happen.
it's like a worst case scenario.
Something
thing,
they
right?
push for. I mean, it was like height, weight, eye color, medical conditions, emergency contacts, birthmarks, scars.
You would have
other
thought somebody
identifiers.
thought of
like
this
a full checklist of everything.
You would have thought somebody thought of that like way before. It's not like kids just started going missing in the
Yeah.
year 2000. Like nobody thought of this before. Like
And one of the things they are pushing for is to keep it updated, like make it a yearly thing, right?
yeah,
Obviously, the
man,
height
absolutely. Of course
changes
you
and-
should. Just like you update your I know it's like the driver's license pictures every
Yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
it is, or mine actually, I don't know. Mine might have been the same since I was like 20 or something. I don't know, but like you got to update your passport photo at some point.
It's almost
don't
like if you just did it digitally. If you did it digitally, like now
Or that,
with an
yeah.
app or something, you could probably just have your whole kid's
Oh,
information.
that's gotta be a whole-
And then it's just
yeah.
scan it, and
That
the
can't
police
be
have
hard.
everything.
Nowadays, that can't be hard.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? And yeah, these provide educational resources for parents and law enforcement. Annual, they have the Molly Bish Remembrance Day, which is great. There's a community walk and a fundraiser. I hate to say like you love to see it, but like you do like to see stuff like that. And her family remains active in missing person cases across the state. So I'm assuming they get. I mean, when I say vigilant, when a child goes missing, I assume that means they're getting involved in trying to help in whatever way
Yeah,
they
just
can, right?
try to, probably not ease the parents, because how can you ease the parents? But basically kind of help them, give them the steps that they went through and
Yeah.
the things that they should be doing and
Right.
how they should probably be, alerting the media and all that. Kind of like a walkthrough, that being like a source of information
Yeah.
and help for other people with missing kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially like if you had like a grief counselor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Very similar
God
to
forbid
that.
it's a woman that lost a kid, like a son at a young age or whatever the hell, and they bring her in. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe that's how it happens. I don't know. And now we're going into the 8th part of this with any modern developments and like lingering mysteries and unanswered questions around the case. Right. So as of 2025, the case remains officially open still. Massachusetts State Police continue reviewing evidence. The advanced DNA testing and genealogy tools are all being considered and used. And essentially, right, at the end of the day, this is, I think still, right, the largest, like I said in the intro, the largest and most expensive missing person child case, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
In Massachusetts.
Well, I think they had a big area to cover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Comins Pond is pretty big,
Right.
and so just in terms of the search, it was a lengthy one. It was a lengthy one, and it required a lot of resources to do
Yeah.
it. Because I think you had to probably drag the pond. You
Oh, yeah.
had to search woods.
They had
which
helicopters
is very
out.
hard. which is
Yeah,
very
doing
hard
like
to
the
do.
aerial view and stuff like that.
It's not like it's a plane in Idaho, you know what I mean, where it's all open. You're going through woods. It's very, you could see how it could rack up money and time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
And then obviously, like, you had all hands on deck.
Yep.
They had people joining up left and right, getting out there left and right. So this was clearly a very active. I would love to hear the point of view of somebody from like that is from that area.
Yeah.
That was like an adult or even a younger person. They might have been a teenager themselves at that time. Like what it was like to be there and be around the town at that time.
Yeah.
Because that's just got to be like I hate to use the phrase moment in time. Usually that's like a positive thing, but a moment in time could be anything. The OJ thing. Everybody remembers where they were.
Right.
Not that I do, obviously. I was 3 years old, but
Yeah.
everybody remembers where they were when the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase came on TV. Same thing with, something like 9/11 or anything like that.
Yeah, something like this, it shocks the community. I'm sure stuff had to change, and like just the fear in kids' minds
Yeah.
and whole families, because they could picture themselves in those shoes. It hits close to home when you're near there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, they went 0 for 3 as far as what the DNA goes, right, on
Well,
all 3 of the suspects. Or what else did you have there?
Stanger, Rodney Stanganger, they don't have DNA.
Oh, they don't?
They didn't have
Okay.
enough evidence on him. I'm pretty sure he died, so they didn't have the evidence to link him in any way. They just had insufficient evidence.
Okay.
Both Sumner and Battistoni they said the DNA wasn't there. But again, how much DNA was left, you don't really know. You don't know
Sure.
how plausible is it. Do they have that? We don't know if they have a blood sample or anything like that. It doesn't seem like they do.
Right.
So what DNA do they have? We don't know.
Yeah, you have no idea. I think it's it just sucks because it's going to be one of those things where until there's a big tip or a confession, like how much of this is going to really change? It's tough.
No, I know.
It's hard.
I think it's going to be like that with a lot of cases.
Especially ones from back in the day.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying that we're 33 and 37 years old.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, nowadays this would be handled totally differently. But you have all these cases from I don't even know, 2010 that are probably, it's going to, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, they do break new, didn't they break, didn't they just find the what's his name? D.B. Cooper?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
With DNA or something like that, Pat? I don't know if there's a reference. They just broke some big case with DNA, like this big mystery or something like that. I thought they were close on the Zodiac, too.
They might be close on the Zodiac. I heard that.
Right. So maybe that happens with this case.
John Bonet, they say they're close.
John Bonet,
We'll
they
see.
say they're close. We were just
Yeah.
talking about that before we started recording. But, yeah, that's that. And honestly, that's...
So what do you think? Do you have any theories about like what might have happened in any way, shape, or
I
form?
think this dude, whoever did this, was obviously plotting this for clearly like at least a week based on their mother's account.
Yeah, and
Right.
think about the short timeline. We're talking like 5-10 minutes where like people aren't there. Like
Yeah.
where Molly mother leaves and people show up and she's gone. So it's a short timeline.
So this person had to have this planned like
It has to be planned.
meticulously. I
It
hate to
has
say
to
this,
be
but it's had to be
planned.
planned. There's no way this just spontaneously happened. So you got to think, right? If you're Maggie Bish, even when you dropped her off the first, did she not ever ask, like, Molly, have you seen this guy? Do you recognize this guy? Is he here when you, like, does he ever show up when you're at work?
Yeah, I mean,
I like, you know what I mean? Have you seen him by the pond? Do you see him in the parking lot? Have you ever seen this
I've
person?
listened to her in some interviews, and it doesn't seem like she never gets into that, like their conversations about the guy. It's more like she was just trying to like, I think even Molly at one point was asking her like, why are you staying so long type thing, but I don't think she wanted to get her like
Scared.
in a way. It's
Yeah.
the way it seems like. So she stayed there, and there's such a small window that it's like
It's a super small window.
Yeah.
And it's funny how sometimes I feel like it's these cases that go on for so long that the window is so small.
I know.
Especially our next case that we have after this.
Yeah.
You could tune into episode 2 for Evelyn Hartley, the case of Evelyn Hartley, out of Wisconsin.
Yep.
That'll be episode 2. Do we have any other information to cover with this? Because I had everything.
No, I do think that as stuff comes up, it might be in certain episodes we might have to go back and talk about it a little bit, because certain information could get released, and
Sure.
You never know.
Yeah,
Somebody
absolutely.
might say, okay, we need to check back in on this,
Right.
that this happened. Yeah, it does stink that like, I think you're gonna be batting your head up against the wall on most of these cases, like what honestly happened. You kind of gotta, make your own decision just from listening to it.
Yeah, it's that, like I said, this is clearly one of the biggest, if not the most famous, like missing person case in Massachusetts to this point. One of them at least,
yeah.
right? I mean, you have Maura Murray, you have other ones too, but like, this is yeah. I mean, and I think we covered pretty much all the bases on this one. So that's kind of where we're at. That's episode 1, the case of the disappearance of Molly Bish. This is The Search. I'm Marc.
This
That-
is Al.
And Pat's back there. So we'll see you on the next episode.